So I wrote a tweet because I wanted to get ahead of what I thought was a good conversation about Tanner Schafer at a time when people might actually care to talk about Tanner Schafer. No disrespect to Tanner Schafer, who Jalin Conyers is going to inform you is a Texas high school football legend. Two things I want to point out before we get to the conversation about Jalin. One, it's the first time that you're going to hear from Jalin. You're going to hear from him later because we were able to talk and I'm trying to put together a nice story about him before post the video. Second is it means the world to him, and you're going to hear that Tanner Schafer is quarterback at Oklahoma, and I love these stories. All right, let's talk to Jalin.
Don't be cornering me. Hold up, time. You gotta help me with that corner
I have one that I remember. I've heard a lot of stories, but there's just like the one there was one I personally encountered, so I was gonna tell you.
Okay.
So I can't remember what grade I was in, but I know I was a ball boy for my high school team, and this was in 2014, I believe. I think I was in 7th grade, 8th grade, and we had Canadian that week, and which they were ranked 1 or 2 in state at the time, and we were not. Our high school was not a very good football team. But they were, I mean, we weren't bad, but I mean, just compared to recent years. But I mean, anyway, coming into that game, all you heard about was how good Canadian was and how their quarterback has not lost a game in his high school career. So our guys are coming in really excited, trying to upset them, and it's like, I was always in the locker room with them. I was always like just on the sideline because I was a ball boy. I was water boy. I was always a part of it all. So anyway, I'd always go set the balls up and stuff before like they start warming up on game days and stuff. And I remember Tanner Schafer walking out and like looking at me and like kind of giving me the head, like saying what's up to me. And I kind of did the same. And I asked one of the coaches if that was him, and they said, yeah, that's him. And just like watching him during warm-ups was like watching like a college quarterback or NFL quarterback like get ready. Like, I mean, the dude was just straight focused and didn't he had it was no goofing around. And I mean, he was throwing the ball, seemed to be like 50, 60 yards without a problem. And, well, of course, when it comes to game time, I was like, well, all right, well, let's see what this kid's got. Cause our defense back then was like not bad at all. I mean, I think our team led like the league in sacks or something like that anyway. But, so anyway, we're going in the game and I'm ball boy, and the Canadian got the ball the first possession, and I think they scored on the first play with I want to say like a 60-yard touchdown, something like that, on the first play. And I mean, he just threw a bomb, and it was pretty tight coverage, but he just put it in a place where the receiver couldn't get it. And I mean, and the dude just straight tore our defense up. I think he had like maybe 300, 400 yards passing. He played the whole game, which was crazy. He didn't have to, but I mean, he did. And dude could have probably had way more yards, but I want to say they took him out in about the whole fourth quarter. And I think he was responsible for every single touchdown. And I remember they beat us 63-0. And like our team, and like they had never got like shut out like that. So it was like crazy. And just watching him play, it was really like being at an NFL game. Like, I mean, he was making calls at the line. I mean, he was making changes, protections, hot routes. I mean, it was crazy. And at the end of the game, I was shaking his hand or whatever, and he asked me if I was Jalin, because at the time, I was like the kid that was coming up that everyone thought was going to be good. So he asked me if I was Jalin because we played their eighth graders the night before, and we had beat them pretty bad, and I had a pretty good game. And he said, hey, he just told me to work hard, and you can work. I can't remember exactly what he said, but I just remember he said something along the lines of always work hard, and you can be something special. And like I should always remember that because I'll shake his hand at the end of the game, and like all our guys are like so defeated and tired, and I'm kind of just at the end like trying to be like sad with them because I don't want to look like I'm happy after a big loss. But I mean, he told me that was just kind of like crazy to me, which was kind of cool. And then just like to watch him for the rest of the season, go watch his highlights, and he's putting up 300 yards a game and 400 yards a game, and I mean it's like his stats say it. I mean he didn't lose a game his whole. Like, he didn't lose a game his whole career. And I can see why. Because, like, the dude would throw a touchdown and act like it didn't even matter. Like he just jog to the sideline and go get the playbook, get ready for the next possession. Like, I mean, it was crazy. And watching him in the state championship game, it looked like he had no pressure at all. Like, it was just ridiculous to watch. And but that's one of the more fonder memories I have of watching him or being around him, watching him play. Just always seeing like what. And I mean, when I heard he walked on to OU, I thought that was a big deal at the time. And like, it just took me forever to realize, like, he walked on. Like, he didn't get offered a scholarship. He walked on to go do what he loves to do. So I admire him a lot for that, and it's really cool.
Do you remember what team he was throwing for all those touchdowns against when they won 63-0?
Yeah, it was my school.
Oh, which school?
It wasn't Groover,
okay.
But it was
okay.
It was my old school. I used to live at West Texas High School.
Okay, I wanted to be sure. But no, like, what do you think about the opportunity for you guys to be on the same scout team, same team, catching passes from him?
I mean, honestly, it's like awesome because I mean, when he was down in Canadian for like he was down in Canadian during quarantine or whatever during the time some of the break, so I got to throw with him and be right around him, and I mean, it's just like the dude's still crazy. Like, I mean, it's just crazy to see like. I thought he was good back then, and just I can tell like the progression from then to now is like way different. Like, I mean, he throws it with a lot more accuracy and speed, and like I thought he was amazing back then. So it's like just insane to like feel that and like getting the chance to throw with him and just knowing that I'm gonna be at the same school as him, and there's a good chance to be catching passes from him for a while. Like, I mean, it's really cool. I mean, it's two guys from an area that doesn't get heavily recruited and that. A lot of sometimes doesn't get as much recognition. So, I mean, it's really cool that we're going to be on the same. We have who knows, an opportunity at some point to be on the field at the same time and make something happen. And like I said in the tweet that I retweeted or whatever, I mean, we're both just kids from the 806 area code 806. And I mean, we're just trying to show people that there's talent in this area too. And I know that Tanner could go to a bunch of different schools, probably in like maybe some smaller schools or whatever, and be a starter. Because I mean, the guy's just that good. But I mean, that's like what you said. Like, it's not just about being a starter; it's about like learning and just being a part of a system you want to be in. And that he seems to be happy where he is right now. And I mean, I'm so ready to be on the field with him and be around him and learn a lot. So I'm looking forward to it.
I'm going to give you a stat that you can use with anybody whenever you have these sorts of conversations about Tanner or about OU, and particularly about Texas. So at one point, the University of Texas through the 60s won 3 national championships. And at the time, Darrell Royal probably could have run for governor and won. That those teams were so very, very good. They won 30 straight games at one point. Tanner Schafer won 31.
Yeah.
So I always loved that. I love putting the numbers together in that the third string quarterback won more consecutive games in high school than the pride of Texas at a time of which everybody remembers Texas being elite.
That's what I'm saying. Like, him being a legend around here, he really was like that's what was the talk of every week. Like, who's Tanner Schafer going against and who's trying to stop him? Who's trying to stop Tanner Schafer and the Canadian Wildcats? I mean, that was always the talk. And I mean, it was that way until they got to state. And eventually, when they got to state, it was kind of like, surely it's not going to keep going. Like, the streak is going to end. And it didn't. I mean, the dude played lights out and went. I mean, just he was an animal. And that's, I mean, and you just always heard about him. Like, you didn't think he did anything else except play football. You thought that was just his life and his livelihood. Like, you didn't think he did anything else.
That's what's up. Jalin, thank you so much for taking this call, especially on short notice, man.
Oh, it's no problem. Anytime.